Difficult times inspire the creative mind to generate innovation, which can be advanced by connecting with the right people. Though this is never an easy feat, if we all affirm ourselves to achieve the goals we set, then the more certain we are to beat the odds. Hi there. Welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Sit back and relax. As we turn the pages today, we'll explore some efforts to improve energy efficiency as a means of unlocking the country's economic potential. Also on the pages, see how each of us can support the growth agenda by eating more locally grown food products. Later, youth finding their true purpose. They tell their story at the 2014 Petro-Caribbean Youth Forum. All this and much more on the other side of this break.
The Ebola virus is transmitted through direct contact with an infected person's blood or other bodily fluids like saliva, urine, stool, and semen. Symptoms of Ebola include sudden fever, intense weakness, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat. This may be followed by vomiting, diarrhea, and rash, and in some cases both internal and external bleeding, leading to death. Protect yourself. Avoid travel to Ebola-affected countries. Avoid contact with infected persons. Don't touch the body of someone who has died from Ebola. Wash hands frequently with soap and water and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. To know more, call 1-888-663-5683.
Fiscal consolidation.
The centerpiece of the program has been the need to reduce our debt.
Business reform.
Make sure that we transform Jamaica to make it a place to do business easily.
New and existing businesses will benefit from streamlined regulations and processes.
And pursuing strategic investments while protecting the most vulnerable.
The path we're on is the right path.
The economy in Jamaica is turning.
The fact that the international community is once again lending to Jamaica says something about their confidence in our policies.
It is now time to actually stay the course, not to lose the benefits of the hard decisions that have been made.
The Jamaican government is committed to continuing the process of reform.
The government of Jamaica is on a mission, going for growth, staying the course and transforming the economy through its economic reform program.
The cost of energy to non-oil producing countries like Jamaica is a drag on economic growth and competitiveness. Even while Jamaica has started to break free from this bondage with the use of renewables and alternatives to fossil fuel, the entire Caribbean got together in Montego Bay recently to share solutions for advancing the process of unlocking economic growth. Here's more.
Unlocking economic growth. That was the theme for the 2014 High Level Caribbean Forum held on October 23 and 24 at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The event, which was hosted by the Ministry of Finance and the International Monetary Fund IMF, brought together high-ranking government and private sector officials from several Caribbean countries, as well as senior officials from the IMF, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the World Bank. With oil and gas being the main sources of fuel for Caribbean countries, participants in the 2014 High Level Caribbean Forum have agreed to embark on a comprehensive strategy to reduce their energy bills by diversifying their sources of energy.
Participants consider the development of renewable energy should be encouraged by increasing the share of them in the overall energy mix. Nonetheless, there was a recognition that oil and gas-based electricity generation will continue to dominate for some time.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, who officially opened the forum, pointed out that Jamaica was already implementing strategies to cut the country's oil import bill by diversifying the fuel mix. The government has been pursuing renewable energy sources like wind and solar while promoting energy conservation. The Electricity Sector Enterprise Team ESET is also working on a plan to replace old and inefficient power generating units with modern ones using cheaper alternatives to oil.
The committee reported to Cabinet in September on a generation plan which provides for a mix of LNG, ethane, and coal being the fuels. The electricity supplied by the country's long-term provider JPSCO and two of the alumina plants.
Preliminary studies show that this would reduce the cost of energy by 30% by 2018, saving the country about $350 million. In the meantime, experts who gave presentations at the high-level forum warned that the Petrocaribe agreement between Venezuela and some Caribbean countries may be under threat. Under the agreement, signatories to the agreement pay Venezuela upfront for 60% of the cost of the oil they receive. The other 40% is payable over 25 years at an interest rate of 1% per annum.
It might be only a matter of time until Venezuela is not able to afford any longer to subsidize exports of its own oil to the region. Therefore, something that countries in the region have to start to get ready for, because that might not be there in the next few years.
So we are building our reserves in a way to compensate for any potential occurrence. In addition as well to, we have been broadening the arrangements for repayment to Venezuela through the provision of goods. So far we have arranged a clinker deal which allows us to repay Venezuela in kind and not cash.
Finger-licking jerk chicken, Helcha fish and bami, will run down yam and banana, roast breadfruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
November is being celebrated as Eat Jamaican Month. The aim is to get all our people in the mode of eating more of the food that is grown locally instead of those imported. Not only are local foods fresher, they are of the highest quality by global standard. And by eating more, we'd be eating healthier, nutritious foods and spending less foreign exchange to import foods. We'd also be supporting the growth of local farming and agro-processing industries.
The Jamaicans are running away with the event. Can Trinidad and Tobago take the second spot? Asafa Powell, Jamaica, gold, 37.10. World record!
Born and fed in Jamaica, homegrown athletes sustained by the foods of the soil, enriched to reach international heights of glory.
This is a fabulous moment in Jamaican and Caribbean track and field history.
An agricultural sector steeped in a tradition of excellence, ripe for expanded production, energized to tap into new markets. A nation of champions. Food. For most, that probably means the broad label for just about every edible item we humans consume. Now, Jamaicans fully agree to this, but in the lingua of the island, food is also a specific term for the side dishes that accompany the main course of Jamaican meals. You might also hear them called ground or grung provisions: yam, potato, sweet or Irish, dasheen, cocoa, cassava, and others that are staples of the island's agricultural output. Farmers, supported by government and strong private groups, plant and harvest these crops for the discerning Jamaican consumer and a reliable export market. As the world marvels at the lightning speed of the likes of Usain Bolt and Veronica Campbell-Brown, many have asked, is it in the food? Perhaps the yellow yam?
969.
When we roast the yellow yam, when we roast the yellow yam, and we slice it in a two, and we slice it in a two.
The skin is brown, sometimes black, and some say scaly. Peel away the outer layer and get to the heart of its starchy goodness. There you'll find fulfillment and a taste that is as distinctive as the indescribable talent of our trailblazing athletic stars. More importantly, in the heart of our yams are essential nutrients for healthy living: vitamins C and B6, potassium, manganese, fiber, and iron. These nutrients converge in several varieties of the Jamaican yam, a tuber with off-white, purple, white, yellow, and sometimes red flesh, depending on the variety. For every type of yam, there is a uniquely Jamaican name, like Renta, Yampi, Moonshine, or Afu. Whatever the name, they're all edible, just so long as you cook them first. And with thousands of acres of fertile land, yam production is an island-wide vocation in Jamaica. But you might be surprised, or not, to know that the most popular yam-producing parish, Trelawney, is also the home of the world's fastest man.
Corrected to 969. The relax. Usain Bolt. Tremendous running by this man.
Daylight come and me want go home. Work all night.
From jerk to curry recipes, Jamaican cooking is all about the spices, sourced right on the island. With the support of the state entity responsible for managing all things agricultural, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Jamaica's spice producers are on the verge of stamping a bolder mark on the competitive international industry, with many programs unfurling to increase the production of traditional spices like ginger, turmeric, nutmeg, and pimento, and non-traditional spices such as hot peppers and onion. And the possibilities are bountiful. Take ginger and turmeric, for example. Both grow with relative ease almost anywhere on the island. In fact, travel to some places in Jamaica and you can find turmeric growing wild, unfettered by any environmental condition that could stunt its growth. Whether for use as a condiment, for its healing properties, or simply for coloring, consumers worldwide can't seem to get enough turmeric. Global trade in turmeric has been trending up, and so have prices. As for Jamaican ginger, it has long been considered among, if not the best in the world. Current global demand for Jamaican ginger is estimated at 21,000 metric tons in its fresh form and 4,200 tons dried, and there's room for growth. Jamaica is a tiny giant in the world of agro-processed foods. Island producers are dishing out big, unique flavors, employing ingenuity and utilizing the support of state agencies to steadily eke out more of the international market for these goods. Jamaican companies like Central Food Packers are making a mark on this agricultural offshoot, exporting quality canned, bottled, and baked foods to markets in North America, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the Caribbean. Included in the mix are mild to spicy hot sauces, jams and jellies, a must if you want to proclaim your Jamaicanness. Ackee, delivered to you in a can, and for a bit of green delight, callaloo canned in brine. Then there are some unique Jamaican spreads for your breads and biscuits, like a dab of Solomon Gundy, or a spoonful of delicious mango, sorrel, or tamarind chutney. And let's not forget the roots wines. Jamaica's value-added agro-processors are engaged in other sweet pursuits. Companies like Honeykiss are churning out all-natural honey confections. As they'll tell you, and you can taste for yourself, pure Jamaican wildflower honey is infused with just a choops of natural unique fruits, vegetables and spices, ginger, Blue Mountain coffee, pimento, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper. Sweet, aromatic, rich, strong are entirely inadequate labels. Have a taste of authentic Jamaican honey, and what you'll get is a pure, honest flavor, aroma, and taste, and medicinal benefits that make healthy living absolutely enticing.
Youth who have benefited from the Petrocaribe Fund Scholarship Program are finding their purpose in life through the valuable assistance they receive to prepare themselves for the careers of their choice. There was overwhelming appreciation expressed for the government's investment in their development as they gathered for the 2014 Youth Forum. Take a look.
Is not always the dream that counts. Sometimes it is the person you become in pursuit of your dream that really matters.
I was given a key to unlock my personal door to success.
You have tremendously make a mark on my life to know that something is deep within. I just need to go out and be a champion.
Who am I? Who am I?
This is just the beginning. The investment that has been made in you, an average of $2.6 million each, is not just for you. The real challenge comes with how will you pay it forward.
Powerful words that lit fire in the minds of all who were privy to Petrocaribe Development Fund PDF's Youth Forum held recently at the Knutsford Court Hotel under the theme Celebrating Our Youth.
This is the first. The purpose is really to bring the students and the employees together and to hear inspirational talk from others about how they can achieve greater things in their lives. But very importantly, to build a community, to have students relating to each other, to have people feel that they are not just being given a scholarship or some employment and then abandoned, to give them some opportunity to ask questions, to guide their own career development.
The forum acted as a platform for participants from PDF Summer Employment and Jamaica 50th Scholarship Programs to share stories of how true champions are born.
More and more of our young people from the first quintile of the population are doing very well and are matriculating to university. And the big challenge for all of us is to make sure that as many of those as possible are assisted where they need assistance to get to fulfill their dreams, which are, after all, the national dreams as well. As in this regard, both programs are of great benefit to the education system because they lift up what is God's greatest creation, the human spirit.
Olivia, Sharida, and Romain spoke of their journey. They knew what their lives would have been like without the helping hand PDF so lovingly extended.
I am truly grateful to be one of the recipients for the Jamaica 50th Scholarship Award. I must personally thank the awarding body for allowing me this opportunity because otherwise I could not have afforded it.
Discussing certain options with my mother and saying, oh, you know, I'll get a part-time job and I'll tutor students in the night and anything else. When all these imaginary jobs didn't materialize, I was left with the thought that I'm going to have to walk out. I would have to leave after my first semester. When I was finally selected, I remember feeling overwhelming joy. I felt as if a load had been taken off my shoulders. I felt incredibly blessed.
Normally you will sit at home and you think, what am I going to do in my life? What am I going to do next? This opportunity has given me the key, placed it right here. The bush was in front of the pathway for the door. Chopped out the bush so I can see the door and say, take this step. And for this opportunity, I thank you.
Think that's interesting? Hear from a budding entertainment coordinator who is a believer that no hurdle is too difficult to leap once you have the right backing.
My dad is a farmer. My mother sells on Princess Street in downtown, and there's no way that I could really fund this scholarship from my immediate family. And so when I got the scholarship, it was a tremendous blessing. When I pull up my transcript online and I look at my balance of $0, it always reminds me of how good God is to me.
There was no quieting the voices of the 300 beneficiaries and then some who spoke up from the platform and from the audience. After they spoke, experts on the ups and downs of life took center stage. Yannick Page, CEO of Future Services International, implored the youngsters to think big to make it big, and after reaching the zenith, to pay it forward.
People will tell you the worst things. I can tell you, people say the worst things about you and to you, and they will break you down, and your obligation is to tell yourself, as Olivia said, repeat to yourself, you are a champion. You can do it. It is possible. You can go out there and change the world. Your border is not just Jamaica. The world is your oyster.
Timar Jackson, Jamaica's 2014 Rhodes Scholar, pulled the stories from his past, proving that one's failure can be a springboard to success.
Despite being raised in a volatile community in Rasta Lane, where I never had many positive role models, despite not being able to read, write, or spell as a third grade student in primary school, despite my poor performance in GSAT and attending a non-traditional high school, despite not having much financial resources, one of my biggest dreams was to one day attend university and to grow and develop myself to the fullest extent possible. I did not stop until I achieved my dream.
This youth forum has really impacted my life. Meeting new persons that can motivate you to do good, and just socializing, just hearing another person's testimony and know that you can replicate from it and be a role model, and they can be a role model to you, and know that if one person make it, why you can't make it. It's within. Just try and be a champion.
If we hadn't gotten a chance before, we are now able to meet with the persons who have, been so generous in giving us the opportunity to move forward with our career goals, but we also get a chance to see the other persons who have been blessed as well.
This forum has exposed me to maybe 80 plus other persons who I can see in the future to help me be a better person in the future. And I mean, the entertainment industry that I'll be a part of, it's not an individual thing, but a partnership. And so in order to drive Jamaica to that place to live, raise family, and do business over the next 50 years, I'll surely need other persons along the journey.
It's great to see the investment in youth and to see the directing them to particular areas of study. I mean, we really want youth to start thinking about fixing Jamaica's pressing problems and how they can do that from a very young age, and planning is a big part of the process. So this is, these investments, I hope Jamaica will see the benefit of them in a few years.
Petro-Carib Development Fund is committed to the national plan of making Jamaica, or island home, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. And what better way to ensure longevity than through our youth?
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Jamaica formally launched a 6-year development funding program with the European Union this week. The 11th European Development Fund for the 2014-2020 period activates Jamaica's national indicative program at a value of €46 million. The largest share of that amount will go towards improving justice and governance in the island and represents a deliberate policy to align the program with government's strategic priorities for the first time.
As we thank the EU for its continued support, we continue to be responsive to unfolding national realities as we implement the medium-term socio-economic policy framework in a spirit of true and mutually respectful collaboration with our international partners. And we commit to playing our part to the timely and efficient implementation of these vital programs.
The 2014-2020 The Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, this week assessed that Jamaica should pass the 6th IMF test.
The major quantitative performance criteria that constitute the test include the primary balance, which actually came in at 43.6 versus the IMF target of 37.8. So we exceeded that by 5.8 billion.
EPOC's co-chairman said based on the IMF's benchmark, tax revenues were also $3 billion more than projected, reaching $169 billion, even though government was behind in its collection target of $176.4 billion.
The government compensated for this shortfall by cutting back on expenditure, $6.3 billion on the capital side and $5.6 billion on the recurrent side.
Officials from the International Monetary Fund are currently in the island reviewing the country's performance in the July to September quarter of 2014. CARICOM heads have adopted a 10-point plan of action to stop Ebola in West Africa and prevent any spread to the Caribbean. Among other things, the plan calls for the creation of a regional rapid response team called Carib React and the establishment of a regional coordinating mechanism on Ebola to be chaired by the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPA. A comprehensive resource mobilization effort is to be organized, including a possible Stop Ebola There and Here SETH fund to which governments, citizens and businesses here and abroad may donate. And CARICOM leaders also called for stronger measures at ports of entry, including harmonizing travel restrictions in the region. The effectiveness of all these measures is to be reviewed at the CARICOM intersessional meeting in February 2015 and again at the Conference of Heads in July. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health revealed that there had been a significant decline in new chikungunya cases in the eastern parishes, including St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Catherine. However, increasing numbers were being seen in the western part of the island, with all parishes now impacted by the virus. For those who continue to suffer with joint pains associated with CHIKV, the ministry's acting permanent secretary, Dr. Kevin Harvey, recommended mild exercise. He said some persons may also need physiotherapy depending on the severity of the joint pains. Dr. Harvey added that while most CHIKV infections completely resolved within weeks or months, there had been documented cases of related joint pains persisting for several years. And finally, government's plan to stamp out corruption within the security forces and other organizations was strengthened with this week's official opening of the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, MOCA's Polygraph and Vetting Center. It was constructed and equipped with support from the governments of the United States and Canada at a cost of over $1 million. National Security Minister Peter Bunting said it would enhance the work of MOCA.
MOCA is, in a sense, providing investigative teeth to a lot of other audit-type operations across ministries, but they may have the skills to identify something suspicious, and MOCA then comes in to give them the full ambit or the full range of intelligence, investigative, and operational support.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
And that's it for today's magazine program. But keep the link. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JISNews. Also, click on our website jis.gov.jm for the very latest government information. On behalf of the entire team at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, inviting you to join us again tomorrow for more information you can use. Until then, do take care, and thanks so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.